Okay, hello all together from my side. My name is Mark Emde from ROI FSO Management Consulting, and I want to welcome you to our today's webinar, Lean Office, the Efficient Workplace. This webinar will gain you insights to types of waste and their effects in the administrative areas. I hope I can show you an effective approach we use as a consultant company to increase the added value in the office and efficient work through the 5S method and also standards at the workplace. So the main topics for today, and we wish you an effective learning experience today. Maybe a few words to my person. I'm working for ROI since 2005 now. I'm a senior expert and project manager there, and main topics are optimization of business processes according to best practices in various areas. I have a controlling and reporting background, and after the last, 10 years maybe, I have experience in lean management and also this focus on the lean administration. The agenda for today. After this short introduction, I will give you an overview what's the Lean Office about. We have a quite interesting holistic approach for the Lean Office and how to improve. I will give in this approach, we have level 1 and 2, which are 5S and standards. And this level 1 and 2, I will give you more detailed information about. And the last topics are further qualification offers by the Learning Campus of ROI FSO. And I would like to answer your questions. So what is this webinar about? It's about the distinction between value-adding activities and waste in the office. I think you all know waste and all these value-adding discussions from production areas, but more and more it's interesting and important to do this also in the indirect areas of the companies. It's about the identification of approaches to increase the added value in the office, and it's about the application of 5S methods and standards in the administrative areas. What we cannot discuss and what I cannot give you today, I would like, but it's not possible during the time, the complete description of a lean administration approach for the efficient work in the office or the detailing of the presented lean office methods. I would call it's a first view into the topic. I hope I can wake some interest, but I think you are interested because you are here today, which is very, very good. So the procedure and interaction, just for information, it's about 35 minutes presentation. It's about 10 minutes Q&A. If you have any technical questions about the tool, you can use this symbol here and post your technical questions or problems in these here in this assistance. Or if you have questions about the content you want to answer after the presentation, you can put it in the question, put it in here, and I will have a look at it after the presentation is said. And the webinar is also recorded on our YouTube channel, so you can see this link in the chat area also. So what is Lean Office about? We have numerous challenges about administration functions and processes. We have quite a few external challenges over the last, I would say it's over the last 20 years or so. We have a trend towards the knowledge and service society. It's not only production, it's a lot about knowledge and it's a lot about services. What is also not new, but definitely we are living in times of a quite high competitive and cost pressure. And we also have, as an external challenge, a demographic change. We have quite high customer claims. We have to think about, and often we have to outsource functions, maybe not only in the production area, also in indirect areas. Think about some companies, about the invoicing, for example, invoicing or things like that. Internal challenges regarding our administrative function and processes. Customers require from us, for the companies, high complexity of product and service range. It's not enough to produce 2 standard products for customers. It's often required that there are individual products, flexible products, and so on. And on the other hand, continuous cost reduction is required. And if we have a deeper view on our administration in the areas, administrative processes often are less transparent and less standardized. It's often quite difficult to find the administrative process and define this process, because there are many different ways to do, and some people we don't have it so clear, like a production process, or for example a product development process. Often they're very deeply defined and very detailed defined, but we don't find it often for administrative processes. And the improvement approaches are often very difficult to quantify also. We have a partially distributed organizations through decentralization. Days like these today, we have quite often home office and so on. So companies must face all these challenges in order to remain profitable. And the question for sure is now, what's need to be done and where to start? And we think a good point to start is think about value adding and think about waste. And waste is in the administration is quite similar at the end of the day to waste in the production. And we have here 8 types of waste, which are from topics. The topics are near the same like in the production, but the details for sure are different. So we also have an overproduction in administration. We can find stocks as a waste. We can find waste in the transport area or in the area space, or not use competences if you don't have the right people at the right place. Topic search times or transit times is waste in the administration. We also have rework and scrap, or waiting times, for example, if you wait for approval or signature or whatever. So for all of these, for sure, you will find many examples what waste we find there. Just here to give you a few examples for stocks and for overproduction. Stocks, we have too much information, for example, outdated documents you don't need, files no longer required, or old unimportant emails. And for example, this too much information, which is a stock issue here, also relates to search, or especially to search times, because typically if things if you have several documents you don't need, and you look maybe first in the wrong place and whatever, or for the wrong document. Too large workloads is also an example. Or if you look from another view on it, you have too many devices, you have obsolete computers, obsolete printers, or whatever. Or on the other hand, you have shortages of office supplies. It's also an issue of stocks. So it depends how you look on this here. Stocks is a quite different topics in there, which means if you have a deep look, in your area and want to define or find, you don't want to define it, you want to find waste and then eliminate it, you can look from different points of it on it. Overproduction is similar. You have maybe too much detail. You produce unnecessary information. You produce information which is not required. You produce maybe redundant information or too many emails. It's something I see very often in the companies. Much too much emails people write, receive, and so on. Or over distribution is also an issue. Too large distribution lists, not the right people or too many people on the list. And in general, maybe speaking, it's often push instead of pull. Instead of knowing what the customer really requires, it's not known. Or information is definitely not required by the receiver. I did it in the past a few times if we talked about controlling and reporting, and that you have a list of many reports and you start not sending out reports anymore and have a look at what happens. Quite often it happens nothing. Nobody claims that or asks for the report you produced every month before. And maybe this is a good sign that this report is not needed anymore. Important in this discussion ways, on the other hand, is what is value adding in the office? What does it mean? We think, and I think we are not the only who define this way, value is everything a customer is willing to pay for. And it's maybe an external customer, but in many administrative areas, it could also be the internal customer, which maybe will not pay for, or he pays not for it, but because there's no invoicing between the organizations, but he would pay for it maybe. And value in the office is any know-how information that can be used to respond to customer needs or to provide a service, for example. Some examples for value-adding work: an inventory audit as part of a customer request, the creation of a customer invoice, investment calculation, new production plant, and so on. As said, everything that creates valuable know-how and or information is value adding from our point of view. And waste, everything that does not create value or contribute to the value creation. The question, where does waste come from? Why do we have waste? Often we find a chaotic environment with many or constant interruptions of work. Unavailable resources or their bottlenecks, lack of prioritization of projects and tasks, the communication problems between different functions. Often we don't have sufficiently defined customer requirements. Overanalysis could result in waste, too many meetings, or I would call this here an email avalanche. You often get so many emails, you always have a backlog, and this is not what you want. On the other hand, if we have here value adding and we have here waste, for example, as I said, for waiting, approval, search, we have another not small part of this whole which is not value adding, but it's necessary. So you can also improve this area here and try to reduce and do more value adding of your 100% time, but you will not cut it down to, let's say, 0 or 10%, because it will be more at the end, because replying to emails, participation in meetings or documentation of processes is something you have to do. And now I want to give you a holistic approach for Lean Office from our understanding. We think in this 6-step model for Lean Office in levels, level 1 to level 6. And the level 1 is the creation of a good initial situation through self-organization. And one of these methods is, for example, the waste analysis or the 5S method I will talk about later. With the result, you have a workplace organization, you have order and cleanliness, you have waste awareness. The next level is the improvement of the collaboration by standardization or Kanban, with the result that you reduce your errors, you reduce the search times, for example. I will talk later about level 1 and 2, and give you a little overview what we can do here in level 3 to 6. Level 3 is the savings through process improvement. Methods are, for example, process mapping, value stream design, and so on, with process cost reduction, lead time reduction as major results. Level 4 is, if you hear as a result as a, let's say, good state, then you maintain the good state through the optimization in teams. And this could be by visual management, by key figures or KPI. Shop floor management is also in the indirect areas a very, very good method. We quite often, since a few years, we quite often see also in indirect areas of companies. The level 5, the self-responsibility for flexible working in teams. We use methods like task analysis, space and mobility concept to improve the cooperation, the mobility, and at the end, the area productivity. And level 6, we call this the best in class, is the process mastery. And we use methods like benchmarking, knowledge sharing is quite important there. And the best in class should be regarding quality, productivity, speed, and it's not maybe also costs, for example. So, okay, let's have a look here in level 1. Level 1, I want to give you a short overview about 5S, the basic idea and the procedure in overview. It's about order and cleanliness at the workplace and the optimization in 5 phases. I'm quite sure you know about 5S from production. And it's a sort out, step 1, it's systematize, it's shine or keep it clean, the third S, the standardization, and self-discipline. And the aim of 5S to create a clear, clean, and safe working environment. It's the same production and administration also, and this should also support the employee motivation and increases the work efficiency. And 5S should, or is from our view, the basic prerequisite for making waste visible in the system. And it should work made easier or make easier by order and cleanliness. And I will give you a view, some examples for each of the steps. This sort out. You can think about it's one possible rule of thumb. Think about what you don't need at the workplace in the next 30 days and remove it. And if you something need definitely and you have removed it, you can put it again. But unnecessary materials, information, put it away somewhere. What's this defect? I think it can really be moved because you will never use it. Yeah? Obsolete files or mails, outdated forms. Often you find outdated forms somewhere in a folder or wherever. Unsuitable spare parts and accessories, old drawings or old regulations, unused equipment. So first, as I said, sort out, reduce stock, make room for really important things. Second one is systematize. It's about visualization. All required objects are given a fixed location, which minimize efforts and times required for searching or getting them. See this example, I think it's quite nice. You see colors, the folders have colors. Each row here is one color. So you see it quite easy if something is at the wrong place. And you can do this This is just old-fashioned example. You can also do this for sure in digital form, and you can build up database structures or filing systems for office materials, for example, also, or for forms. You can do this. You find it easy, reduce your search times. It's easier process, errors are avoided, and so on. If we have a deeper look here, what happens? Not so easy. Think about now what happens. Here the black is full, so this nice order and sequence, each color one row, will not work anymore. So somebody has to think about a new structure here. Shine or keep it clean is some kind of basic cleaning of the workplace and the entire environment. The computer, the cupboard and the shelves, the tables and the files. And if you have done this, and if you have a clean workplace, for sure, you should do this in a process, in a regular process. But this is step 3 here in 5S, is the basic cleaning. And step 4 is a standardization. Create standards and adhere to them through visual management. For example, standardized process descriptions and visual management to ensure the execution of regular tasks, and order and cleanliness becomes a normal state, uniform appearance. And if you have done this, it's all about self-discipline, because it's required that you have a control loop consisting auditing, feedback and correction about this, that you apply all these 5S topics here and optimize them and further development of the standards. And integrate this in a change process and become it as your personal basic attitude. And then the target is order and cleanliness as part of the daily work and part of the company culture. And then you have here in this 6-level model, you're here at the basis and can tick it and say, okay, let's go to the next. And the next is level 2, standards in the office. And I will just give you here a short overview what kind of standards you can think about. For example, storage, files and folders, standards about meetings, standards about what office supply and consumables you use in the office, about email standards, email usage, health and safety at work. I think this part is quite good standardized in most companies, partly due to regulations. Then service level agreements, the definition of service level agreements. Then it's clear what you can expect from your service partner. Standards about information and communication, and for sure standards about processes and interfaces. And I will give you for the meeting rules as an example for office standards. It's just an example. There are so many kinds of meeting rules I've seen the last, I would say, 10 years before. I haven't seen it so often, but it's more and more in nearly every company. I remember the last years, their meeting rules hang up as a poster or as a meeting stand on the tables. You find it, and I personally have really to say I like it, because it makes clear that meetings should be something which has to be efficient, which have to be effective. You should talk about the right topics. You should do it in an efficient way. And therefore I don't think we don't have to go through line by line, but before the meeting, you have to make clear some things. During the meetings, it should be clear that there are some things like no mobile phones, no email communication. Does work, not always. Sometimes it works in some meetings in some companies better than in others. And after the meeting, that it's clear that here we have actions written down, decisions written down in notes of the meeting, and that somebody follows up here. Yeah? Typically, it's a meeting leader. That all these actions are written down are follow-up. There's a follow-up. Okay, also I will not, as I said, not go through everything. You can have a look later on in the presentation then. And the second example, maybe also quite interesting, personally I like it, some email rules. Also not so easy to implement in the companies, but from my point of view, or from our point of view, it makes sense definitely to think about it. First, is email necessary, or is telephone or is Skype maybe a better medium for that? Avoid spam. You don't want for every little topic an email, and maybe you are not the right recipient. Yeah, maybe you are not an acting person and you're on CC on as knowledgeable person, and you get much too much emails in CC, for example. It's also not good. Keep information burden low, so have quite small distribution circuits. Also, what you can do is here the categorization of the mails in the subject. I personally think this one is quite easy. If you have something which is just an information email in the subject, write down an E. Or if it's a decision, write down an A for decision, for example. You can define it like as you like it. Content, clear framework. Actions must be obvious, so clear definitions. Who should do what? This must be clear. Not too much information in the email, but also the information the person needs, because otherwise you write 3 emails in both directions just to get clear what has to be done with what information. Clear structure, good reading. It should be easy to read, I would say. And if you have attachments, also not too much, and just what the other person needs. It's also just an example here. And now I think I would say these are just the basics here, the first 2 topics. But if we want to come from level 3 up to level 6, level 3 was all this issue about process optimization, process mapping, and so on, to reduce process costs, to improve lead times, and so on. So we have quite a few other lean office tools we use in projects. And it's only also an example, or these are extracts. But interesting topic here, the so-called activity structure analysis, which is an analysis where you make an estimation about the time you need for specific activities we define together with you in an activity catalog. And then you give this in your organization, in your, let's say, development department. You have a specific catalog, for example, for development. And the people, the employees, or the team leaders write down, make an estimation what activity they do for with which percent. And then you get a nice overview about what, if you have 100%, what are the main topics, and often you find quite interesting results in it. Process mapping, I guess you know this. From here is more or less the process map, what we see here for level 0, or maybe you call it level 1, but you can down to level 2 or in more detail. The swim lane methodology here to show where are the interactions between departments and the process here. Also is a good methodology to find quite easy, for example, where are interface problems, or generally it shows good your process flow. This is more the SIPOC model for supplier, information process, output, and customer. Shows for each of these, for example here, process steps, shows in one page in detail what you're doing. Maybe you know this. And this is something, as I said before, shop floor management also in indirect areas, not in the production only, Here's an example I built up with a customer, a shop floor management system in a customer service area, and it was quite successful. The people used this or use it since quite a long time ago now. Various stream analysis, I think you know. And here in these areas, we also often, for sure, also in level 1 and 2, we support our customers. So this is, let's say, was a quick overview about the Lean Office topic. I would like to give you in the last 4 minutes in short information about further qualification offers. The ROI FSO Learning Campus as a partner for excellent qualification. We have topics Lean Management, Human Dynamics, and Digitization Industry 4.0, which are the main topics right now. And we have several training and qualification offerings, starting here with open seminars or online learnings to customized in-house trainings, best practice visits, certification programs, guided learning projects, coaching, and here also learning factories we have in Prague and Munich for Lean and Industry 4.0, development of in-house academies and learning factories. As you see, it's quite a large portfolio we can offer our customers here. And short term, our training and qualification offering is at the 20th of November. It's nearly the whole day. It's a training day, so-called. Learn, Connect, and Shape. And it's an online event once a year with keynote presentations from BMW and Paul Hartmann, with interactive online workshops. It's in English also, and it's possible to register via our website. And then we have in-house trainings, client-specific or standardized on demand as customer wants. For example, we also have project management as a more or less standardized training, but here at the moment, the major topics, as said, are Lean Management, Human Dynamics, Digitization, also information, or you can send requests to the training at ROI. And we also for sure have here, as written down, the Lean Management. If you are interested in any further information about topics, for example, also these Lean Office topics, give us information via email or telephone. We can talk about this, what could be interesting for you. Certification courses, client-specific or standardized, the Lean Digital Manager, the Digital Transformation Manager, or the Process Kaizen Engineer. It's in English or in German. And also these trainings we can supply online. They are online available also. Your contact persons, Tayfun Kaimachi and myself. And now I will gladly answer your questions, hopefully. And would say from this side, thank you for listening. Okay, here I have a question. How is your experience about introducing shop floor management in companies? What are challenges? What are opportunities? Good question. As I said, the shop floor management in the administrative areas is something, it's quite new. In the production, it works, you have levels, you have cascades and so on, but many indirect areas are not involved in this. Sorry, this was a timer. It's just the end of the presentation. So I'm in time, I think. It's the indirect areas are like, let's say, customer service, for example, or the R&D department, or also departments like controlling or HR are not involved typically. But what is shop floor management about? Shop floor management is about management, as the name says. And management is about communication, management is about information. And this is a topic which is indeed has the same importance in these areas as in other areas also. So it's important, we know, and it's new. So everything which is new can be a challenge. On the hand, that some people ask, what it's for, and is it really necessary? And we are only 5 or 8 people, and is it necessary that we talk every day together? That could be. But on the other hand, exactly this is the opportunity. This is a chance to improve information flow, to improve communication, to motivate. But it's about transparency, and transparency is not a thing everybody likes. And this is maybe also a challenge to deal with this. Summarized, I would say it's absolutely worth to think about shop floor management in administrative areas. We have quite often done this, also with success. Customers like it after a while. Think often says, I heard it sometimes, I cannot imagine how we have done it before, but it takes a little while from the idea, the detailed definition, what information, what KPI, what information you want at your shop floor board, what you want to talk about. Hope this will be clear. Look, other questions here. I have a second one, and I think then we are in time. It's about a typical project approach for lean office projects. And this is a quite difficult question because there is not a typical approach. There are many different approaches from, as you said, from which level you reach. If you think in these 6 levels, if you have done level 1 and level 2 and want to improve your processes, maybe you can start with things like process mapping, activity structure analysis, or things like that. And then you are in between the lean office topics. There also is, you will maybe identify topics or areas with waste, and you think about how to correct this and so on. But you don't have to start at the basis. But it's also possible that you haven't thought about 5S in your administration, in your office, and then it makes sense. Start with a simple lean office basis training, for example, and this is what I've tried to give you an overview in the last 40 minutes. We can make you a 1 or 2 day training, and then based on this make a short Gemba walk through the departments, maybe each one for a few hours or half a day, and have a look what is realized, what is implemented of these ideas of lean office in the organization, and then make maybe a gap analysis, build your individual lean office principles, and start to implement this. This could be a way, or is a way we have done it also. So there are different ways to implement Lean Office in the organization. Okay, now we have a few minutes left, but on the other hand, I don't have any questions. I don't find any more questions here. So I would like to say thank you. Hope you could get something, get some information, and yeah, I wish you a nice day, remaining day, and thanks a lot. Bye bye.